Hi, I'm Tierney with the Office for Mac Group. In this video series, I'm going to show you how to create and work with charts. We'll create and format a combination chart that graphically represents some simple sales data. If you want to follow along, you can use the Practice Excel workbook that comes with this video. Also, keep in mind that you can pause and resume the video at any time to watch at your own pace. Okay, let's look at the data that we'll be working with. It shows the average price per unit and the number of units sold for a fictitious sports company over 4 consecutive years. The type of chart that you use will depend on how your data is arranged. The way that this data is arranged makes it ideal for a column chart. To learn more about arranging data for specific chart types, check out the related content and feedback section for this video. To insert the chart, first select the data that you want to include. Right now, let's just select a portion of the data. Then, on the Charts tab, click the type of chart you want. Then choose the style. Let's go with this one called Clustered Column. As you can see, a column chart that plots the selected data is added to the current sheet. You can move and resize the chart as you would any other object. In the next lesson, we'll update the chart to include all of the data, and we'll explore different chart elements. In the previous lesson, we plotted only a portion of the data. Let's add the remaining data and see how the chart updates. To do anything with a chart, you first have to select it. Click the outside edge of the chart. The blue border indicates that it's selected. Notice that when the chart is selected, color borders and handles also appear around the plotted data. Now, point to the lower right handle around the data, and when the cursor changes to this symbol, click and drag over the additional data that you want to plot. Notice that the chart updates to include this new data. Also, when you change any data that has already been plotted, for example, let's change this price per unit value, the chart automatically updates to reflect the change. Now, let's look at the various elements of the chart and how they correspond to your data. First, notice that when the chart is selected, 2 new tabs, Chart Layout and Format, appear on the ribbon. These are contextual tabs that contain chart options we'll explore in later lessons. When you move over a chart element, a screen tip appears to show what you're looking at. Starting here on the left, we have the vertical or value axis. Along the bottom, we have the horizontal or category axis. In this case, there is one category for each year. When you point to any column in the chart, you get details about the data points it represents. For example, this one is for the data series Average Price Per Unit for the year 2010, and the value is $425. On the right, you have the legend with the entry for each data series, average price per unit, and units sold. Finally, depending on how the data is arranged in your sheet, you might want to switch the way it is plotted. On the Charts tab, under Data, point to the selected Switch Plot button. Currently, the data is plotted to show a series for each column. In this case, average price per unit and units sold. If you switch the plot to by row, the chart changes to show a series for each row, in this case, one for each year. Let's switch the plot back to by column and move on to the next lesson, where we'll add and format labels to make the chart easier to understand. Labels, such as titles and legends, are simple additions that can make any chart easier to read and understand. Here under Chart Quick Layouts, there are several preset layouts to choose from. Let's go with this one that adds the title above the chart. Now, click the Chart Layout tab and add a title to the horizontal axis and one to the vertical axis. To change a title, just select the text and type what you want. Let's change the horizontal axis title to year, the vertical axis title to dollars, and the main chart title to snowboard sales. Let's also add a label to the data points. Click Data Labels and then click Value. Notice that the exact value appears over each data point that is plotted in the chart. Let's undo that and instead add a label to just a single data point that we want to stand out. First, click any data point on the average price series. Notice that handles appear around all 4 data points in the series. Now, click just the data point that you want to add the label to. The handles now appear around that point only to indicate that it is the only one selected. Then, on the Chart Layout tab, click Data Labels and click Value. Now a value label appears only for the selected data point. In the next lesson, we'll look in more detail at how to format this label as well as other chart elements. In the previous lesson, you saw that you can add labels for chart axes and for specific data points. Since labels appear in text boxes, you can move and format them like regular text. Let's change the size and formatting of this data label. First, select the label. You can select the label by clicking it directly in the chart, or here on the Format tab under Current Selection. You can select any chart element from this pop-up menu. Next, click Format Selection and change the font size to 14 and make the text bold. Now, drag the label so it appears directly over the column. Finally, let's add a shadow and a glow effect to this data series to make it look better. First, select the data series either directly in the chart or from the Format tab. Again, handles appear around the column to indicate that the series is selected. Now, click Effects, and let's go with this shadow style and this glow style. These are 2 simple examples, but you can use the same approach to format all data labels and chart elements. In the next lesson, we'll add a combination chart and a secondary axis to make this chart make more sense. You've probably noticed that the vertical axis is in dollars, which doesn't make sense for the units sold series. To plot different types of information on the same chart, you will probably want to create a combination chart. First, select the data series that you want to appear as a different type of chart. Let's use the Units Sold series. Then, on the Charts tab, select the type of chart that you want the series to appear as. Let's go with this Marked Lines chart. Keep in mind that you can only combine certain types of charts. For example, you can't combine a 3D chart with other types. Notice that the series now appears as a line chart and the legend updates to show a different style. That's better, but the data points still appear as if they're measured in dollars. To fix this, let's add a secondary vertical axis that uses the correct scale. First, select the Units Sold series. Then, on the Format tab, click Format Selection. In the left pane, click Axis, and then select Secondary Axis. Now, the right vertical axis shows a range of values for the Units Sold series. And to make sure it's clear what the axis values represents, select the secondary axis, then on the Chart Layout tab, click Axis Title, point to the secondary vertical axis title, and choose the style that you want. Finally, let's change the secondary axis label to read Units. In the final lesson, we'll finish up by looking at how to copy and print a chart, as well as how to use it in other Office applications. After you've finished your chart, you might want to print it or reuse it in another document. To print a chart, including the data in the sheet, click File, and then click Print. In the Print dialog, make sure that Active Sheets is selected. If you want to print just the chart without the data, you first need to copy the chart to a different sheet. To copy the chart, Control or right-click the border of the chart and then click Copy. Then paste the chart to a new or blank sheet. Again, Control-click or right-click anywhere on the sheet and then click Paste. To show page breaks on the sheet, on the Layout tab, click Options and then click Breaks. Now you can see if you need to move or resize the chart to make it fit on a single printed page. When the chart is where you want it, click File, Print, and choose the Active Sheets option to print just the chart. With the chart still copied to the clipboard, you can paste it into any Word document or PowerPoint presentation in the same way you pasted it between sheets in a workbook. Once the chart is pasted into a document or a presentation, you can edit and format the chart by using the Chart tabs and the tools directly in Word or PowerPoint. To edit the chart data, on the Chart tab, click Edit Data in Excel and make the changes that you want. Any changes show up automatically in the copied version of the chart. So those are some of the ways that you can create and customize charts in Office 2011. For more information about charts and displaying data visually, check out the related content section for this video and the Office for Mac website.